But the argument is like this. The problem of Indonesia is we have low tech revenue to GDP ratio, around 10 to 11%. Our interest rate is relatively high, around about 6%. Still we consider it we are safe?
And somebody like Srimlayani, what Srimlayani has done in her 6 years at the World Bank Group is she studied the economies of every country literally in the world. And she not only studied them, but she's visited those countries. She understands what's going on. The key is not to debate about capitalism or debate about how the world economy is structured. We know how it's structured. Just listen to the head of the largest communist party in the world tell you about how the global economy works. So the key is to make the global economy work for Indonesia. My very strong recommendation for the people of Indonesia is that don't listen just to arguments inside of Indonesia, but look at how the world is currently working. Go read the speech of President Xi Jinping that he gave to Davos in January. It really outlined as clearly as anything I've heard the nature of the world today. Right? And so it's going to be very difficult if the nature of the world today looks like this. It's going to be very difficult for Indonesia to create its own reality. The reality is out there. Nobody understands that reality better than Sri Mulyani Indrawati. And because she understands it so well, we are confident that we can bring investors, we can bring more attention to the opportunities in Indonesia, and that Indonesia can become a high-income country and become rich before it gets old.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Jim. I know I can't keep you any longer because you have to go to the airport. But you know what? This reminds me of what we spoke about 2 years ago, at World Bank office in Jakarta, and asked you if you would let Sri Mulyani go for Indonesian government, and you said no. So from now on, I will not ask you for favor because I know it will come true anyway.
But let me tell you how it happened, though. So as soon as President Jokowi was elected, they began communicating with Sri Mulyani and wanted her to come back. And so I am very proud that I kept her for 2 years. But then,
Thank you for the effort.
Well, that's how valuable she was to the World Bank Group.
Don't try to get her back.
No, she's one of the most respected managing directors in the history of the World Bank Group. She is very important. But here's what happened. We were together at the G20 meeting in Hangzhou in China. And President Jokowi had been calling her again. And I just asked her, I said, Sri Mulyani, how do you feel about going back to Indonesia? And she said, I think about my two parents who both passed away. And I think about what they would want me to do. And I just think that they want me to go back and help my country. Yeah. So at that point, what could I say, Rosie? I said, okay, I can't argue with your dead parents.
I know.
So go back, but please work with us. If we invest the resources we need to in Indonesia, Indonesia can become an example for the rest of the world.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jim. Always nice talking to you. Have a safe flight.
Thank you, Rosie.
Looking forward to meeting you in Bali.
I'll be back, I think, in February, and then again in Bali, and I'm sure we'll talk again.
Looking forward to having you. Thank you, Dr. Jim.
Thanks, Rosie.